Hello and welcome to our 18th session, and in this session we are going to build a customized fourth scene wherein we are going to add our robotic character which we had explored in our first session in 01 starter scene, and we are going to bring it into an environment like a forest, and this forest environment we are going to get it from the asset store. Unity Asset Store is a huge portal for all your 3D assets and models. You can use this asset store, you can upload your own models and share it with others, and at the same time you get a lot of environment, characters, scripts available to you to start building a full-fledged game in Unity. So we are going to explore how to use this asset store, get a forest environment and add our robotic character there. Later we are going to place some of our collectibles there, and the robot has to go and search and collect it. This is somewhat like a treasure hunt game. So let us start building this game. If you do not have the previous source files of Unity to start this project, then you can come into the YouTube video descriptions here, click on more, and here you are provided with a Patreon link. Click on this link. You will be taken to the Patreon page, and if you scroll down, you have one file, Unity Profile Robot Environment Start. Click on this and download it. This is around 1.9 GB. You are provided with a low poly environment Unity package. You can click on this and download this Unity package also. Come into your Unity projects folder and paste this file. Right click and extract all the files. Launch Unity Hub. In projects, come here to add and click on add project from disk. Browse to your extracted folder and click open. Right now I cancel it because I am continuing from my previous session. I already have the Unity profile project here. I will click on this to launch the project. Once the project is launched, come into the project window. In Assets, Unity Profile Content Scene, you have this 6 bonus custom scene. Double click to open this. Now come into File, Save As, and in Unity Project Unity Profile, you just come into Assets, open this Unity Profile Contents folder, and in Scenes, give it the name now as 4 Treasure Hunt and click on Save. Now for this scene, we are going to use our character which is a robot. To assess this, come into your project panel, come into Assets, come here into Unity Profile Content Source Files, and you have this Space Robot Kyle. Double click to open it. You have prefabs. Double click to open it, and you have one player. Now drag this player into this treasure hunt scene. Double click this. You can see this player is present along with a camera. So if I open this player prefab, you have robot. If I double click, you can see the robot. Alt left click, I will turn around and see. Then you have a main camera and also a player follow camera because this is using the component Cinemachine. You should see that Cinemachine is installed in your project. So you can go to Window, Package Management, Package Manager, and come into Unity Registry. You can search for Cinemachine. Now you can see Cinemachine is already installed. I will close this. If I save this project, come into the game view, then if I play the game, you can now see you already have a robotic character, and as I turn, you can see it from different angles, tilt up and down. And if I press W, my camera follows the player. A, it follows left. D, it follows right. S, he is moving back. With Shift W, he runs. With space, he jumps. So all these features have already been added to it. Stop the playback. I want this robot to move around in a forest or in a hilly area or in a garden, and these environments, either you can create it in Blender or in Maya and import it over here, or you can create a low poly environment right in Unity itself. To assess these kind of environment and models, Unity has an asset store. On the top bar, you have one asset store. Click on asset store web. This asset store is going to open in your browser. As soon as you come into the asset store, you have this avatar image here. Click here and click on sign in. Using your Unity ID, that is Gmail and password, sign in into your account. I will come into search and I am going to search for low poly environment and I am going to click on search. I will come here in the filter price and enable free. If you scroll down and have a look at it, and one of the asset here is this low poly environment pack. You can just click on this asset. You will have add to my assets. This asset has already been installed, and now when I click on open in Unity, you see this open Unity editor pop up. Click on this. You will come back to Unity package manager. In my assets, you can see low poly environment pack. This is already installed in my assets. You have one import one to project. I can just click on this, see that all is selected and click on the import option and wait for all these assets to be imported into your project. Now I will close the package manager, and if you come into your project panel assets, you now have a new folder called as low poly environment pack. And if I double click to open this, inside this you have demo, and in this demo you have 3 scenes here. I select demo 1 scene, double click and open it. Now here I will come into the scene view, and if I right click and turn over, everything appears in this pink color. This is because of the texture rendering issue. Your project Unity 6.3 is using universal render pipeline, but this asset is an old asset which was created using the built-in render pipeline. Now you have to convert all these assets from built-in render pipeline to universal render pipeline. Come into window, package management, package manager, coming into Unity registry, type universal and see that this universal render pipeline is installed. It is already installed because this project itself is in URP. I will close the package manager. If you come into window and if you come into rendering, you have one option here, render pipeline converter. Click on this. Now in this render pipeline converter, first click on this initialize converters. So when I click it, converters will be initialized. I am going to choose the option built into URP here, and I will enable render and setting setup, material update, animation clip converter, read only material converter. I enable all the options here. Click on convert assets. And if you close the render pipeline converter, you can now see that in your scene, you are seeing this with the correct materials. I want this environment to be used for my player. I am going to come into file and I will come into save as, and here in Unity project, Unity profile assets, I will now come into Unity profile contents and come into scene. Now I am going to select this 4 treasure hunt Unity and I am going to click on save. It is asking whether you want to replace it. Click yes. I will come back into project panel, coming back to asset. Now I open Unity profile contents, source files, space robot Kyle, and in this I will select the prefab. Now I will drag this player into this scene. I will select this other camera here and I will remove it. The camera that is with the player will be used now, and now if you come into the game view, you can see that our robot is now placed in this desert. So now I will come to file and save this. I will select the player and come into the inspector, and in the transform I will reset its position to 0, 0, 0. Alt left mouse, and if I turn around, you can see now the player is almost floating. He is not on the ground. If I save the file and if I now play the game, you can now see he immediately jumps onto the ground because rigid body gravity is applied to this character. However, I want him to rest on the ground when the game starts. I will stop the playback and I will select the player, and here I move it by around -1.32. I will now save this, and now if I execute the game, you can now see he is standing on the game. and when he is moving, see when he comes into this rock, some of these rocks, see he is walking through the rocks. See, this is because all the items here are not applied with collider. So I will stop the playback. Now you can see here that the rock here, which is rock 4, is applied with mesh collider. But if I select this another rock, which is rock 3, it is not applied with mesh collider. So some of the object here doesn't have mesh collider applied to it. To fix this issue, I will come into the project panel, and in the asset, I open this low poly environment pack. All the asset here is created using the prefabs. I will open the prefabs here, double click to open it, and if I select bush 1 doesn't have mesh collider applied. So I will click on add component. I will select mesh collider and apply it to it. For bush 2 also it is missing. Add component, mesh collider, I will add it. For bush 3 also it is missing. Add component, mesh collider. Environment 1 has mesh collider. Grass 1 doesn't have mesh collider. Grass 2 doesn't have it. Log 1 doesn't have it. Log 2 doesn't have it. Log 3 doesn't have it. So I select grass 1 with shift press select till log 3, and I will add component mesh collider. Then mountain underscore 1 has mesh collider, 2 has mesh collider, but for 3 it is missing. So I will add component mesh collider. Then for plant 1 it is missing. All the plant mesh collider is missing. So I select plant 1 with shift press select till plant 7. I will come to add component and I will add mesh collider. For rock 1 mesh collider is there, rock 2 mesh collider is there, but for rock 3 it is missing. So I will come to add component and I will add mesh collider. Rock 4 is there, rock 5 mesh collider is there, rock 6 mesh collider is there. Stone 1 mesh collider is missing. I will come to add component and add mesh collider. Terrain 1 mesh collider is there, terrain 2 mesh collider is there. Tree 1, tree 2, tree 3 doesn't have mesh collider. So I select tree 1 with shift press select all the 3 trees, come to add component and I will add mesh collider. If I come to file and save this, and now if I come into the game and if I play the game, now if I press A, move to the left, and now if I come near this rock, you can see now he walks on the rock, but he is not walking through the rock. So now mesh collider is applied to all the objects, and so as he is running, you can see that he gets obstructed when he doesn't go into the mountain or he doesn't go and walk into this rock. It is not happening. So now I will stop the playback. Let us add some collectibles so that the player can go and get it. It is like a treasure hunt and we have to hide this collectible. I will come into the project panel and opening this Unity profile contents. I will come into prefabs collectible, and this time I am going to use this collectible star. Drag it into the hierarchy. With collectible star selected, come into the inspector and in transform, I will click on the 3 dots on the right side and choose reset so that it's at 0, 0, 0 position. Our player is also at 0, 0, 0 position. Along the x-axis, I will slightly drag it to the forward. Around 3 units, I will move it along the x-axis. And then in scale, I will enable constraint proportion and I will scale it up to 2. For this collectible star, we have to attach the collectible script. So coming into the project panel in asset, Unity profile content, come into scripts, drag this collectible script on this collectible star. If I select collectible star, you see the collectible script added here. With the updated script of collectible, we had added one sound effect also. We first need the on collect effect. This is the particle system that has to play. I will come into asset, Unity profile contents. I will come into source files, and in VFX, you have one VFX starburst. So I will select collectible star and I will drag this VFX starburst and add it as on collect effect. Then for the sound, I will come into Unity Profile Contents, Audio, I will come into Sound Effect, and with Collectible star selected, I am now going to drag this SFX blip sound and attach it to this Collect SFX. In Collectible star, once we added this collider, we have to enable ease trigger. Now I will go to File, save this, and now if I play the game, now if I move towards the star, as soon as he goes near it, it bursts and it shows the animation like he has collected it. Now I will stop the playback. I also want to add an user interface wherein the number of collectibles that has been collected can be displayed. So if you come into the project window, asset, Unity Profile Contents, and in Prefabs, if you come into UI, you have this remaining collectible UI. Now I am going to drag this and add it into my hierarchy, and if I double click it, you can see in the canvas collectibles remaining X is there, and this X value will be replaced by the number of collectibles. For remaining collectible UI, if I open this, you have the image, and inside this you have text PMP, and for this text PMP, already update collectible count script is attached. This script is in Asset, Unity Profile Content, Source File Scripts. You have the file here. We have attached this script. Select this text TMP. For this, we have to attach 4 components here, and the first is the audio source. I will come into the hierarchy, right click, and I am going to now add one audio source, and I am going to call this as audio underscore fin, because this audio is going to play when all the collectibles are collected. I will come back to text TMP and I will drag this audio in and attach it as the audio source. And for the wind sound effect, I will come into Asset, Unity Profile Content, Audio, Sound Effect. Now I select this text TMP and I will drag this SFX wind as the sound effect. Then for the wind VFX prefab, I will come into Asset, Unity Profile Content, in Source Files, VFX. I select this Confetti Celebration. I will come back to text TMP and I will drag this Confetti Celebration and add it here. Finally, for the WinVFX spawn point, where it has to spawn means, I will come into the player and I am going to select my robot and I am going to attach it to this. Now I will go to File, save this. If I execute the game, you can now see, since we have added only one collectible, it is showing it as 1. And now if I move and collect it, see, you have the winning sound because all the collectibles has been collected. Now I will stop the playback. Let us place multiple collectibles. Select the first collectible here, press F to zoom in. I will come into this gizmo, right click and come into the top view so that I can see this from the top view. I will drag this and I will zoom out, middle mouse click to pan, and I am going to place it somewhere behind this rock. Come into the front view, press F. I am going to just drag it down, middle mouse click, I will move here and I will place it next to this rock like this. Alt left click, turn around, and I am going to just push it like this so that this is hidden behind this rock. Then I will select this collectible, press Ctrl D to duplicate it, and then I will come into this gizmo, right click and come into the top view. With middle mouse click, I am going to drag this and place the second one behind this rock here. So it will be here. I will press F and I will come on the gizmo and choose free view, and I will turn around to see whether this is correctly placed. Okay, so this appears to be correct. I will just place it little to the down and this is fine. Then I will press Ctrl D to duplicate another copy. Then I will go into the top view. I will drag this and bring it somewhere here and place it. And I will come back to gizmo in the free view, press F to zoom in, alt click and see. Okay, this is behind this rock. Press Ctrl D again to make one more copy, and this time I am going to drag it near this tree. Press F. See, this has gone below the earth because the level here is more. So I have to push it up, and with Alt left click I will just bring it near this tree here. So this I'll select the third one, drag it and bring it near the tree. So this appears to be fine. I will press Ctrl D and add the fifth one. I will come to Gizmo, come into the top view, with middle mouse click I will drag it. I will bring it behind this tree here. I will select this collectible star. With shift click I select all these 5 collectible star, right click and choose create empty parent, and I am going to call this as collectibles, and I will close it. If I come to file and save this, if I play the game, okay, so now the player is here, I will move and the very first collectible is here behind the rock. I will select this, then I will move to this next end here and I will collect the next one, and for the third one I will come here and select the third one, and the fourth one is near this tree. I have to come near the tree here and collect the fourth one, and the fifth one is here. Okay, I collected all the 5 and you have this collectible remaining 0 appearing here. So I will stop the playback. We need to add a back button so that from this scene we go back to the main menu, and we are going to add this back button to this canvas remaining collectible UI. So before I add the back button, I will come into the hierarchy, right click, come into the UI, and we have to add an event system, and then come back to remaining collectible UI, right click and come into UI and add a button text pro, and I am going to call this button as back_btn. Press enter. Then open this and you have this text.tmp component. Come into the inspector and in text mesh pro text input, give it the name as back. Then come back to back button, and here in the width, set its width to 90. I will come into remaining collectible UI and double click it, and you can see the button is at the center. I want it at the bottom right corner. I will select back button, and here in the rect transform, I will alt click on this alignment and choose bottom right. So now it is bottom right aligned. Then in the button in highlighted color, I will click on the color here and I will set blue to 255 and green to 130 and red to 0. And I will close this. Come into the project panel, assets, Unity profile control, and come into source file scripts, and you have one script load scene by index. Now I will drag this script and attach it to my remaining collectible UI. So you can see in the inspector this script has been added. I will come back to back button, and in the inspector I will scroll down, and for on click I am going to add a new event. I am going to drag remaining collectible UI, and in the function I am going to choose load scene by index, load scene integer, and set its value to 0. 0 is the main menu scene. Then I will go to file and save this. If I come into the play mode and if I check whether this back button is working, the back button is not working. This is because in case of this game, our cursor totally disappears when we start the game, and only when I press escape the cursor becomes visible. So because of this, the buttons are not working. And since this is a third person game, the cursor gets locked, and because of that, even if I press escape, I cannot use this button. The solution to this is I have to avoid the cursor getting locked. To implement this solution, I will right now stop the playback. In this game, if you come into Asset, Unity Profile Contents, Source Files, you have third person controller. If you double click it, you have script, and in this you have one third person controller script. And if you double click to open it in Visual Studio Code, to unlock this cursor, there is a 2-line code that you have to add. And this code has been provided to you in our Patreon link. If you come into YouTube and click on this Patreon link, if you scroll down, you have one cursor locked lines.txt file. click on this to download it, and once it is downloaded, double click to open this, and here you have two lines. Cursor lock state is equal to cursor lock mode none and cursor visible is equal to true. Select both these lines, right click and copy it, and now I will come into Visual Studio Code, and in this third person controller.cs I will scroll down and I will come into private void start. That is when the game starts. In this code block after the flower bracket, I am going to paste this code. I will select second line and press tab twice so that it is aligned correctly. I am going to come to file and save this. If I come back to Unity, allow the script to compile. In console you doesn't have any error. And now if I click on the play button, you can now see the cursor is visible, and when I bring it on the back it is working, and when I click on it, it is coming to the main menu. So I will stop the playback, coming into the project, assets, and in Unity profile contents, scenes. I will now open my 0 main menu scene, and if it asks me to save this 4 treasure hunt, click on save, and in this main menu scene, I will double click on canvas, open the canvas, and in this panel scene select, I will open it. I will select this panel scene list, open it, and you have this fourth button now. I will press F2 and I am going to call this as 4 treasure hunt, press enter, and I will open this, select the text TMP component, come into inspector, and in the text input, I am going to call this as 4 treasure hunt game. I will come back here to the 4 treasure hunt button, and in the inspector I will scroll down, and in the highlighted color I will click here, set blue to 255, green to 130 and red to 0. I select this color and close it. And in on click, you can see load scene by index and canvas load. The index number is set to 4. Now I will save this file. I will come into file, build profiles, and I will click on open scene list. And coming into my project asset Unity profile content scenes, I will now select this 4 treasure hunt scene and drag it here in the scene list and put it at the bottom, so that 4 treasure hunt index value is 4. Then I will close this, come to file and save this. And now if I execute this main menu, now if I click on this 4 treasure hunt game, you can see the game starts and you can start playing it. You have the back button also. If I click on the back button, it is coming back to my gaming profile. We have successfully completed this project. I will just stop the playback. And now for the 5th scene, we are going to build one full-fledged zombie game, and we are going to link it here. This we are going to do it in our next session.